Doc AJ Chua, and welcome to Adjusting Your Heart. We talk about mental health and relationship issues every Friday, so please do subscribe. Our topic today is what to do after a clash with your in-laws. In-law problems is one of the major issues couples fight about. In his book, The Honeymoon Never Ends, author Nelson D. wisely advised that we should nurture in-laws, not outlaws. Here are 4 practical ways we can show love to our in-laws. When you got married, keep in mind that your spouse's family becomes yours too. That's why you call your spouse's parents mom and dad. Your spouse's siblings also become your brothers and sisters. So treat your in-laws the way you treat your own family and do what you can to establish closer relationships with them. Your spouse will love you all the more for that. However, there are times that conflicts with in-laws occur. So what should you do? Tip number 1, patch things up with your in-laws. Do it as soon as possible. When you have a conflict with your in-laws, remember that your spouse is the one who will suffer the most. He or she will be caught in between. Regardless of who's right or who's wrong, just try your best to be in good terms with your in-laws again. Swallow your pride and apologize on how you have contributed to the problem. Maybe you said some hurtful things or you disrespected them. Say sorry in person, through text, or through a phone call. You can say, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry for being selfish. I won't do it again. You can check out our previous video entitled, What Makes an Effective Apology? Forgive your in-laws for hurting you, even though they didn't apologize. And don't harbor bitterness. To all the husbands and wives watching this, please don't let your spouse feel that you're always taking the side of your family. Be objective and do not choose sides. Let each side feel that you empathize with them, that you heard and understood what they were saying. For instance, you can say, I understand that you feel hurt when my parents blamed you for something that you didn't do. I'll talk to them later. Or towards your mom, you can say, I know you feel hurt when my wife disrespected you. I'll talk to her later. Tip number 2, give gifts to your in-laws. Proverbs 21 verse 14 says, If anyone is angry with you, give them a gift in private. A gift given in secret will calm even the strongest anger. Giving gifts is another way of saying you're sorry. You can cook or order your in-laws' favorite dish. You can buy a plant if your in-law is a plantito or plantita. Know what your in-laws like or their collections. Buy for them, even there's no conflict. That way, you would be depositing into their love banks. My tourmate, Jennifer Filipino, always make it a point to look for ref magnets for our video editor David Wong, her brother-in-law. I'm blessed that my husband Hans loved my parents. He bought my dad a new cell phone when he noticed that my dad's cell phone wasn't working properly anymore. He was the one who offered to invite my parents to go to Subic with us last week. This was the first time we traveled as a family after the pandemic. We had lunch at 1925 Gastro Pub and they served very delicious crispy pata. We attended Reverend Fred and April Joy Ching's beach wedding. The following day, we attended UEC Olongapo's worship service and we toured around afterwards. Not only did Hans treated them, he had to assist my mom in getting and out of the car. That's why my parents also love Hans and sometimes they would gang up together in teasing me. If Hans can take good care of my parents, he can certainly take good care of you, whether you're an employer looking for an employee or you're looking for a job. In case you need employees, don't hesitate to look for my husband Hans. You can check out their Facebook page, Right Jobs Philippines. Or maybe you're the one looking for a job. Right Jobs would also be able to connect you to the right employers. Hans is also part of BNI, Business Network International, where he serves as the lead visitor host. On my end, I prepare gifts for Hans' family every Christmas. I would also greet them happy birthday and would text them from time to time. Tip number 3, spend time with your in-laws. When there's conflict, the tendency is to avoid that person altogether. But if we do that to our in-laws, it will be harder for the relationship to heal. We have to let our in-laws feel that they didn't lose a family member, but they gained one through you. And your children will see your good example and do likewise when they grow up. Furthermore, they will have a stronger support network. Look at this picture in which David Wong's family, as well as his wife Jacqueline's family, went together for a day tour in Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area. Bondings like these will help their kids Jada and Jordan build closer relationships with both sides of the family. Visit your in-laws regularly. I didn't specify the frequency because that will depend on your family customs. In our case, we call our parents once a week and visit them once a month. Now that the COVID cases have gone down, we take them out for lunch or dinner at least once a month. Hans' parents have passed away, but whenever his siblings would organize a reunion, I would go with Hans. When it comes to spending Christmas or vacations, allot time for both sides. For example, December 24 is dinner with my side of the family. December 25 would be lunch with Hans' side of the family. And I'd like to take this opportunity to appreciate my pretty and talented sister-in-law Ors. In fact, she was one of the leading actresses in Home of Christ's Easter presentation last week. No matter how busy she is, she'd make time for our quarterly family Zoom meeting because they're in Taiwan. She'd not only invite her elder sister, Doc Joanne, and Joanne's husband, David, but she would also invite my brother Jackson whenever there's a special occasion. So for all the parents-in-law who are listening, please treat your son-in-law or your daughter-in-law like your own son or daughter. Don't show favoritism. If you buy a gift, make sure everyone gets one. And please don't scold your children in front of your grandchildren. Respect and abide by the rules your children set for your grandchildren. For instance, if they already told you not to give them candies or chocolates, please don't do so. In the case that the grandchildren would ask you, then you just tell them firmly, your parents instructed us not to give you chocolates. I'm sorry. Or you can say, ask your parents first. I'm gonna tell you, this will make your children want to visit you all the more. And that will give you more chance to spend time with your grandchildren and create happy memories with them. Tip number 4, take care of your in-laws. A very good role model for that is my Makati Gospel Church friend, Sister Yvette Cham Go. She is happily married to Dr. June Go, and they have 4 adult children, Lynette, JJ, Sean, and Sydney. Lynette married RJ and have a very cute baby named Audrey Elise. Yvette lived with her mother-in-law, Mrs. Rose Go, for 35 years. She said that it started when she married Dr. June Go in 1987. Yvette showed love to her mother-in-law by sharing in her interests. For instance, Yvette would go with her mother-in-law to Cartimar to look for different kinds of goldfish. She'd help clean the aquarium, treat sick goldfish, and even help bury dead goldfish. She and her mother-in-law would watch movies together every Wednesday afternoon, and they would enjoy eating popcorn while doing so. As you can see from the pics, Mrs. Rose Go always looked elegant. Yvette would go with her to Piandre every month for a haircut, manicure, and pedicure. Yvette admires her mother-in-law for being a devout Christian. Her mother-in-law would ask challenging questions to Reverend Chua Chi, who was leading the Bible study at that time. And then she'd read and study her Bibles in different versions, whether it's in the Mandarin or the English versions. There were days when she'd ask Yvette what Bible verse she read for that day, and they would have a discussion. Yvette would accompany her mother-in-law to attend MGC's Evergreen and Women's Fellowship. Whenever her mother-in-law offers to cook food for the fellowship members, Yvette would go to the market and buy the ingredients because she was afraid that her mother-in-law might slip. Speaking of Evergreen Fellowship, I'd like to invite all the seniors who are listening to join us via Zoom every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. And every Thursday, we have Women's Fellowship, also at 9:30. My parents joins both and they love it. They would learn a lot from the different messages. Sometimes there will be pastors. They've also invited doctors like Dr. J.P. Prado, Dr. Roderick Tan, and they get to interact with other people and even do some exercises. Mrs. Rose Go believed that one is never too old to learn. She learned to paint, cross-stitch, and make paper tall. Here are some of her masterpieces. Miss Roscoe also made costumes for her grandchildren, whether it's for Christmas, graduation, or United Nations Day. She made a 5-layered Mexican costume and an angel costume for Lynette. Moreover, she taught all her grandchildren Fukien. She'd watch Chinese series so that Yvette can practice her Mandarin. Yvette would take her mother-in-law to different restaurants, even as far as Tagaytay. I personally witnessed how Yvette took good care of her mother-in-law, accompanying her for checkups and dialysis treatments until her mother-in-law passed away during the pandemic. Yvette said she misses her mother-in-law and exhorts all of us to love to the fullest and live with no regrets. So what to do after a clash with your in-laws? Number 1, patch things up with your in-laws. Number 2, give gifts to your in-laws. Number 3, spend time with your in-laws. And number 4, take care of your in-laws. If you're blessed by this video, please like, subscribe, and share it to others. And do follow Adjusting Your Heart in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Signal GCTV 185. And next week, our topic would be what to do after a clash with your colleague. Stay safe, everyone.